So thank you again. I'm Amy Nitschke with the Wisconsin Restaurant Association. I want to welcome you to this session on the power of Facebook Live and how to build credibility and attract more guests in just 3 minutes. This webinar series is sponsored by Society Insurance, a great partner of WRA's, providing our members with a variety of cost-saving solutions. The Restaurant Insight Summit webinars are hosted by the Wisconsin Restaurant Association, dedicated to the success of the food service and hospitality industry. WRA serves as your primary resource for regulatory guidance, training opportunities, and solutions to relevant challenges. A couple of housekeeping items before I turn things over to our
more and just learn more about what you're doing.
Just a reminder, if you're not on mute, to be on mute. That's a good time to remind everybody this will be interactive, but it's good to be on mute at the time that you aren't speaking. I appreciate that. Our speaker is requesting to make this more of an interactive experience like she usually does with her live sessions today. So if you can turn your video on, we'd love to see you, and it will just make it more interactive. And Jean likes talking to her group as opposed to just talking to boxes here. So we would appreciate it if you have that capability. In addition to that, we'll also use the chat feature found at the bottom of your screen. And the webinar is being recorded, and we will send it to you in the next day or two if you'd like to review it. And if you would please answer the quick feedback questions at the end of the session, it would be greatly appreciated. So now let's get to the good stuff. Introducing our presenter who has made this session possible. I'm very delighted to have with us today business strategist and speaker Jean Kuhn. Jean is a 36-year serial entrepreneur that helps frustrated business owners turn around their business and increase their cash flow fast. Jean did exactly that when she bought 2 bankrupt chocolate franchises, one in 2002 and another in 2006. She turned around each business in 12 months or less, adding over 6 figures to the bottom line. Jean is from the Chicago area, but she does help entrepreneurs all over the country and the UK grow their businesses by using the right strategies to market to their business. Jean, let's get started.
Well, thanks, Amy. So I thought, so if you want to find something too, Amy, hold on, give me 1 second. I had a pop up. I want to get rid of it there. So it's not covering you up. You can find this too. If everybody else is going to show up like this, we could show up like this, right? So we can't see each other. We can't connect. We can't engage with each other. So I'm going to really invite you to please turn on your cameras. I can see at least 3 of you can turn on your cameras. So thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Kathy, Cheryl, I'd love it if you guys could turn on your cameras because this is interactive. This is not just me sitting here. You know, I used to stand, right? Now we don't stand anymore. I'm going to be sitting here and engaging with you for the next 40 minutes or so. And it's nice to be able to see your face. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks. And find out what's going on. This is different. I know a lot of times you go to a speaking, you listen to a speaker and they're like, wah, 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 wah. And that's not what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to want you to talk back to me. So I need to see you. So thanks for doing that. So first of all, Amy asked me if I'd come talk about Facebook Live. So let me start by asking, and this is again, there's really not much of a talk if you guys do not engage back and forth. If we're not having a conversation, this is going to be very short and very boring for you. So how many of you right now are using, including Amy, how many of you are using Facebook Live in your job or your business? 1, 2. Jeff, you're not using it. What kind of businesses do you have? What kind of food restaurants do you have? Jeff?
Okay, I own 16 McDonald's restaurants.
Okay, got it. Kathy?
I own a small cafe and a retail shop, a specialty food shop.
Tengo un meeting ahorita, pero ya lo vi aquí.
Awesome.
Nomás que ahorita vengo y voy te...
And Amy, you can mute people.
Nomás que termine, voy te hablo.
Too. Right if there. Sheila, what kind of business do you own? What kind of restaurant? Cheryl or Mary Jane, just unmute yourselves and tell us what kind of restaurant you own. Okay,
We've got
So-
bar and grills at our place.
say that one more time, Cheryl.
Bar and grills. We
A bar and
do,
grill?
like
Okay.
American food. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, what? And all right, if anybody else wants to join us, that's great.
You can use the chat box too, if anybody wants to type in where they're from. If it's maybe too loud in your background and you're not able to have the mic on, feel free to use the chat box too.
Great idea. So part of the reason why you might want to use, Kathy, what are you using? I'm gonna just ask this first. What are you using Facebook Live for in your business?
A variety of things. I used it to keep people up to date throughout the COVID pandemic, what our procedures were, if we were open. I found it a good resource to kind of dispel the rumors that were going around town about what may or may not be happening. So we used Facebook Live. I also do it for online sales because people weren't coming in to shop in the specialty shop. So we would do kind of a product showcase when we had new things in our specialty foods. And then we just had our 2-year anniversary. So just kind of a Facebook Live that morning to let people know what we had planned around town that day.
Yeah, you know what? Yay for you for shifting, right? You shifted your business so that you could stay in business when you couldn't stay open. So high five for you. That's amazing that the ingenuity that some entrepreneurs came up with. You know, McDonald's as a franchise, right? You guys are like one thing, right? You've got fast burgers at a great price. And what did you guys do to, or were you able to, you guys probably stayed open with drive-through the whole time though, right?
Oh, we absolutely did. And then I kept my front counters open just because it allowed bathrooms to stay open. And that's something that's still of value to people on the road.
Huge value to that. I can't tell you how, as we would travel between here and Indiana, how many McDonald's we would stop at that they were locked up, right?
Yeah, the most were.
Yeah. So hi, Jeff, high five for you for thinking about your customer, right? And that would have been a great thing to let people know too, that it's, while it seems like a weird thing to maybe let them know, it's like, hey, look, we're here to service you any way we can, right? Keeping you, your comfort and safety is our top priority. So sometimes you just have to let your people know that. And one of the great things about Facebook Live is the fact that when you're using it, you are now the celebrity of your business. I know, Jeff, you think Ronald McDonald is, but it's you, right?
Well,
I know you're not your face isn't there, but it's you. You're the celebrity of that business. Excuse me, just one moment, 1 second, please. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I had just locked my dogs up so we would not be interrupted, and my son thinks that they're being punished or punishing him or something, but I know they'll bark. So the main thing here is taking care of your customer always. And if the more involved you can be with your customer, the better it is for your business, especially. Who would have ever thought that something like COVID was going to happen? Before, I used to talk about the fact that you use Facebook to showcase your product. You use it to talk about what's going on in the store, what's going around in town. I used to have I wouldn't call it, wasn't a restaurant, but I owned a food business. It was a Rocky Mountain, actually owned 2 Rocky Mountain chocolate factories. So I did know what it was like to have a food business. And luckily, I'm not going to lie, luckily I felt really grateful that I had sold that business in 2016 when 2020 came along. So, but I used it for a lot of ways. I used it to showcase what our new products were in the store, what we were selling. We always offered a weekly special. What was our weekly special? Draw people in. What do they need? Anything that was going on in town, because and I don't think, Jeff, this maybe pertains to you, but maybe it does pertain to Kathy and some other people. When you've got a little restaurant in a walk around town, right? It's about bringing people into town. And mine was in a little tiny walk around town. It was in LaGrange, Illinois. And it was about, how do we get more people into town? Well, let's tell them about what's going on in town. Let's draw them in. And our business association did a really good job of keeping people coming in, keeping events happening in town so we could keep attracting more people. And Facebook Live was one way that I chose to do that on an ongoing basis. First of all, I realized that I like being on video. The number one reason why most people are not doing Facebook Lives is they're afraid to be on video, right? They're afraid they're going to say something stupid and they're going to look stupid. They're afraid they're going to suck when they speak, or they're going to fawn over their words and they're going to stumble. Let me just tell you, people love that. When you stumble, it shows your customers and your audience that you're human, right? And people like it more when people are not. I have clients out there who will literally cannot do a Facebook Live without going, and our special today is the Roto-Rooter, and it is not $5.95, right? They're literally reading it. Nope, that's not enjoyable to anybody to participate in. So it's about getting out there and just embracing the suck, right? When we first start, we suck, right? We suck when we first do anything new for the first time. Jeff, were you like a rock star franchise owner, the first franchise you opened?
No,
No, I wasn't either, right?
I'm still not.
But with 16, I bet you're much better. Kathy, how about you?
No, and for me, it's about building that authenticity,
Yes.
kind of people behind the name. And I have a saying, better done than perfect. That's a common saying. And so it's a one take for me, and it goes public.
Exactly. And I agree with you. And that's exactly how I do that as well. It's one take. I don't do anything. And here's how we got started, right? I challenged 5 of my clients in 2015, 2016 to do 30 consecutive days of Facebook Live. And as their fearless leader, I'm like, okay, well, I've got to do 30. I can't ask somebody to do something I'm not willing to do, right? So we all set out to do 30 consecutive days. I think I had 16 people at the time who took me up on the challenge. And how many do you think finished? Me and one other person, right? Because while it was not hard, it was not easy, right? It was it was very easy to do. It's simple to do, but it was not easy. It was a little hard. So because I'm not going to lie, after 5 days, I was out of content, right? It's like, oh my God, what am I going to tell them now that they don't already know after 5 full days, right? So I decided to make Sundays what you don't know about Jean Day. So I sat on the floor with my dog and I told about the only time that I had gotten arrested, right? And I told the story how I got pulled over and my driver's license was expired, and I was coming home from the gym, and my husband had remember when men put radios in the cars back in the day, and every guy had to have a radio, and you'd put a new radio in the car when you got a car. You guys don't remember that? You guys are probably, Jeff, you got to remember that, right?
Well, I've always had a radio in the car.
Well, there was a radio in the car, but because my husband and all his buddies, they always upgraded the radio, whatever came with it, right? All right, I know my husband.
Didn't you need 8 speakers? Or 10 or 12?
Right? No, I didn't. But he put it in there and he forgot to rehook up my headlights, right? So I got pulled over, and because I had a driver's license that was expired, they took me to a cell and put me in there, right? So I told the story. Now, here's the reason I'm telling you this is because the police chief of LaGrange, Illinois, where my store was located, happened to be a Facebook friend of mine who watched that. And about 15 minutes later, I just get a text from him that is his mugshot, right? Because he has a baby face. When he was a young police officer, they would put him undercover in colleges for drug busts. So he got arrested with a group there, and he had to go to jail so not to blow his cover. He was undercover, but he could not have been he was under 30. He had to be under 30 at that picture. But I'm telling you that because it's a way to connect with other people, and you don't know how you're connecting if you're not out there talking, right? If you're not out there sharing things about you, you would never know that. I would have never known that about him, that he had gotten, was an undercover cop at a very young age. And he would have never known that I could, I'm a rule breaker, right? I'm a rule breaker. If I didn't have time to go get my driver's license, that was not top priority for me at the time. It did become top priority immediately when my husband came to pick me up and he brought our 3-year-old who he had taught to say, "Mommy, we've come to get you out of jail." You know, right then and there, I thought, I don't really want my kids to ever have to say those words again. So what is it that you have that you can share with your audience, right? Your customers, your people are your audience. Jeff, you guys could share, you guys, McDonald's has different things that come up all the time, right? You guys have your McRibs and you have what are the mint shake and stuff that comes along certain times a year. There are certain people, I have my husband's cousin who waits for that McRib to come out, right?
And
then
that's
he waits-
October, November typically.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, I don't have daily content like you're talking about. I might have a 2-week promotion coming up later on. A few months from now, you know, there'll be something else. Like we're just rolling a loyalty program now nationally. Yeah, it'll probably hit the full, you know, we're doing this quiet rollout and the media starts in another couple weeks.
Right.
So, like
But for you
everybody
guys-
else.
But for
don't-
you guys, you could do that right away when it comes out.
Well, I could do it now. I mean, we're already doing it in the restaurants.
Hmm.
But it's, you know, I'm trying to think of live versus even if I put messages out. I see a lot of McDonald's people using LinkedIn right now, but to me, that's just you're singing to the choir there, and there's maybe 300 followers, and they have probably 3/4 of them are McDonald's people around the U.S., so they're not reaching their customers on LinkedIn. Obviously, to me, that's a waste of time. Facebook,
Well-
you know, I think, you know, is going to attract more neighborhood people because of all the groups. neighborhood
Exactly.
groups.
And here's the thing too, that while it's going to attract more of your local, your target market, right? It's probably on Facebook rather than LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
It gives them almost a unfair advantage of what's there because they're a follower. So also a Facebook Live will be shown to more people than a regular recorded video will be shown.
Because now
So
and then
if-
I'll see, you know, someone will give me a thread of something's going on Facebook, or let's say a neighborhood group, and they'll talk about their local McDonald's and just in a good way or bad way. And, you know, fortunately, people only tell about the good ones, but I know the bad ones are out there too.
Mhm.
About my places, because a drive-through is the easiest place on this world to screw up orders.
Oh, yeah, yeah. So let's talk about how do you get how many would you like of you would like your videos to go viral? Anybody want to know how to do that? Because unless you're a kitten or a soldier coming home to surprise their family, your chances of going viral are pretty slim. It's for restaurant, for any sort of business. But one of the ways that I had found and this was, I didn't make this up. I just discovered this as we were doing our 30-day challenge. I had a client who was a professional organizer. And what we found was she was not very creative when it came to naming her videos or putting up that little message, right? The title or the description of what her video was. And the more creative and the more intriguing and the more pain you're solving for people, the more people will log on and listen to your video, right? Watch it. So what is it that they want? So let me give you an example. So she is, as a professional organizer, it was June, and she had made a Facebook Live video. And at the end of it, and she named it My June Special. Wow. Wow, I was impressed by the creativity there, right? My June Special, which really sucked because it basically said to them, hey, you, I'd like to sell you something, right? Who wants to be sold when they're watching a Facebook Live video? Nobody. So what she did do was as she was recording the video, at the end of it, she had some sort of little joke in there about how this was for dads for garages, about helping organize their garages. But what she did is she made a little joke about how dads like topless models. And she was talking about Jeeps, right? And convertibles. So as I listened to her, I called her back and I said, hey, I really wish you would redo that video. And I would like you to instead of the title being Buy My Crap, I said, how about if you take that and you call it All Dads, this is the title of it, All Dads Like Topless Models. intriguing to get them to open it. She had over 7,000 views on that in the next few hours, right? Because her title was All Dads Like Topless Models. And all she did was, it was the exact same video, except she took the joke and put it at the beginning. And then she talked about her special. She got sales from that. People bought her garage package because she now had intrigued them enough to open the video. Your topic or your description of what's going to be in that video is the most important thing. And that's if you guys are doing email marketing, it's if you're doing LinkedIn marketing, whatever it is, your title is the most important thing, because if you can get them to open it up based on your title, you can tell them anything. You can tell them anything. Now, nothing bad, right? You're going to tell, but you're going to, don't lie to them, because the last thing you want to do is lie to them, and then they're not going to open anything else you write. The best title I ever had open, God, it was a 60% open rate on an email. That's almost unheard of, right? High right now is about 17, 18%. That's high. But the title was, My Husband Left Me, right? It was a Sunday, cold. My husband and son went to a superhero movie, and I stayed home to work, right? And I like to have fun. I mean, when I write an email, it's not to amuse you, my client, is to amuse myself, right? So anything I do, any of my marketing that I do was always, especially with the businesses, the chocolate factories, was always to amuse me. Because if I was amused, I was pretty sure that I was going to amuse my clients. And if they were amused, they're going to buy more stuff, right? They're going to keep coming back. They find me entertaining, which they did. If they find me entertaining, they're going to come back and because they want more of that. People don't want to be sold to every time you open up an email. What I found is I was the first one in my franchise doing email marketing. And then the franchise caught on, and then they brought it to all of the franchisees. Well, guess what happened? And you might find this too, Jeff. I don't even know if McDonald's does email marketing, but not really.
Well, they have email. I mean, they have social media, but not email coupons or email offers per se.
Yeah. So, and as a small business owner, I could create my own coupons and stuff. But when they brought it to all the franchisees, the franchisor took over writing the emails. So everything came from corporate. Bad move, because what does corporate care about? All they cared about was selling my customer stuff. That's all they cared about. And everyone was so salesy, right? I didn't care about selling them anything. I cared about serving them. How could I serve them? I had to come up with creative ways to serve them. But in order to serve them, I had to get them in the door first, right? So I'd come up with all great kinds of little marketing tips, but I made it super fun. When Twitter came out, I had the most fun summer with Twitter. So I'd tweet out in the morning, Jean's secret password. Go in and tell the clerk, she looks good today. Her name's Vicky. But just go in and say, Vicky, you look good today. That's today's password, right? Then I have to call Vicky and say, hey, Vicky, if people come in and start telling you that you look good, right, they get blah, blah, blah special. People love that, right? Because they were following me already, I needed to give them a reason to continue to follow me. Because what happens if you stop doing that? They stop following you, right? I wanted to be a resource. I wanted to tell people what's going on in town this week. Oh, did you know the restaurant that's right next door to us has half-price burgers this week? Maybe you didn't know that. I wanted to tell you because I knew that the percentage, we had a really high percentage of people that would go to dinner at that restaurant and then walk out the front door and walk in our front door. And I knew that I figured that out when they closed for 6 weeks to remodel their kitchen and nobody was coming in the store, right? So you've got to figure out what it is that your people need. And then you have to figure out a fun way, make it fun to give it to them. So anyway, I haven't talked about anything that's been on my list yet. So let me hit that right now. So number one, a couple reasons why you want to do Facebook Lives is you want to stay ahead of your competition, because I can guarantee you almost none of your competition is doing Facebook Lives. right? You want to be seen as the expert and the celebrity in your business, and you want to build a following. That is the number one reasons to do Facebook Live videos. And it's fun. Kathy, do you have fun with it? Or do you find it stressful?
Yeah. I jotted down your idea about the secret password. We could certainly incorporate that, but it's also, we very much share what is going on in town. So it's not always about us. It's just
Exactly.
about the
Right.
experience.
Yeah, but have you shared about what any of your neighbor businesses are doing either? Right?
Yeah, we certainly do, especially if
Good.
it's a bigger weekend in town where we're all collectively working together to draw people into Cambridge, then yes, I'll let them know what's happening at the shop across the street or down the road.
Yeah, I think that's just good business to share that sort of information anyway, right? All right, so why aren't people using it? I kind of said it at the beginning. Same reason some people are not coming on camera here. They're afraid to be seen, right? People don't like to be seen. I do.
But if you start Facebook Live, how are people going to know you're out there? You know,
How are they going to know you're there?
if let's say I'm from one of my neighborhoods, and I'm not talking about all of them, but just pick, like, if you're in LaGrange, how are you going to get people from LaGrange as opposed to Evanston?
Because when you do, well, here's the thing. First of all, the people will be notified who follow you and ask to be notified when you go live. And if you give them a really good reason every time you go live, they want to follow you. If every time I went live, I had a special for them or something extra for them, or I was sharing information and tips and ideas about the local McDonald's in town, they want to know what's going on there. So, and people are little voyeurs too, right? They want to just kind of peer into our businesses without actually coming in the door. So it's a fun way to do that also. But that's the main way they do that, Jeff, is that when they start to follow you, so you have to use the account. So if you were on, let's say your main McDonald's account, that you would go Facebook Live on that account as long as you can log into it. Anybody who's following you on that from that account, if they've optimized to get the notifications right away, they'll be able to see that you're live on Facebook right away. And I think that you just have such an adorable look with the bow tie and everything. Like, this is not the typical McDonald's look, but it could be super fun and you could create a great character around that.
Maybe I'll find a clown boy.
We had our thing was we had a bear, right? Rocky Mountain, we have its name's Truffles. It sits outside. If you've ever seen a Rocky Mountain chocolate factory, they always have this big fat stuffed bear sitting on outside, right?
Yes.
That was our mascot. That was our Ronald McDonald. And the kids used to come by and get pictures taken with it. But let me just tell you, anytime I saw a little cute family out there taking pictures with the bear, I kind of run outside, get pictures with that. I will tell you that I had in 2016, I had to have my knee replaced. So I was out of work for a while. And I happened to start seeing videos pop up on being shared to my Facebook group. And I wasn't doing them because I was in no shape I was on some heavy duty painkillers. I was in no shape to be doing any videos. And it involved our bear. And the next thing I see, our bear's in a rest stop in Georgia. And then next video is like, our bear is in Florida. Not one person has told me that bear is missing from our store, right? That bear is $300. So he was considered felony theft. And it turns out that a local police officer from LaGrange just stopped by one day and picked up my bear and took him on vacation. So of course, I wanted to make sure that we talked about that when I got back on. When I could get back on, I talked about the fact that while I was off, Truffles was off gallivanting across the country, right? People love silly little stories like that. Our bear got stolen on the first Valentine's Day I had that store. On the very next day, the bear got stolen, and what did I start to? Oh, that I called every TV station, paper, and radio station in the Chicago area. And CBS News led our Bears story on their 6 o'clock news. And that was the week, that was the day that they, right after that, they announced that Dave Maddox was joining the Cubs. So we led Dave Maddox, our silly little bear getting stolen, led Dave Maddox. But the reason it was just a human interest story. People love human interest story. So I try to run my businesses, all my businesses that way, is all of them are stories. Everything I teach, it's always a parable of something that's happened there. What you need to know about making it a little bit more fun to hear it, right? So it doesn't seem boring. So it doesn't seem like I'm just showing up to hear somebody go, wah, 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 wah. I don't want to talk to like that. I want it to be super fun. I want it to be super, super fun that you want more, right? That's exactly how you should treat your clients, is how can I make you want to come back more? Kathy, do you put coupons in your newsletter, or do you do a newsletter?
I've just started doing a newsletter. I use Square Marketing, so we have a number of discounts that are out there, but I wanted to maybe feedback on Jeff's comment about how do people know that you're live.
Sure.
I used to worry about what time of day I did my Facebook Live to capture people, and I realized it doesn't matter because people watch you on replay. And so if you publish your Facebook live to your feed, it's out there for people to watch when it's convenient for them. I used to get discouraged because I didn't have a lot of engagement on that post, not a lot of comments or likes. But because I'm small, I'm actually able to track the sales that come from that. Like I will sell a dozen of something that I talked about in that Facebook Live, even though there was very little engagement on Facebook itself. I know, like you said, people want to be a voyeur. They're afraid to be seen on Facebook, but they are certainly out there and watching. So I'm able to kind of track the results of my Facebook Live.
Yeah, and if you've got something going on that's just a one-day thing, that's a great Valentine's Day. We would come up with some really super creative, we had a lot of freedom there, come up with some really creative ways to decorate strawberries. And excuse me, all I had to do was take a picture of a strawberry packet, right? Take a picture of the strawberries in a box that were decorated beautifully. And then I'd start getting phone calls. Of course, I'm going to put the phone number in there, right? Call us. If you need a package of this, call us. We'll save them for you. So anything you've got going on in your business, you should be telling your people about, right? I love that when I go in or when I see a Facebook Live business from a business, I'm much more apt to go in right then and there what they're offering. But I'm a real big supporter of small business. So if they're telling me that they're doing something fun, I want to be where the fun is. I want to know what's going on. And if you've got something cool, like you said, you have a little retail shop, like really eclectic things, I would totally be posting. And I'm glad you said you did that, posting pictures of it and finding ways to sell it when you couldn't be open. I love that, Kathy. That's brilliant. So, okay, so here's how to use it, right? So we talked about the titles already. Let's talk about how you do that. So you never make an offer for you. There is a kind of an unwritten rule that you should offer more value before you make an offer. So before you say, hey, buy my stuff, you should be value posting to start with. So what does value posting look like? So for me, it could have looked like, hey, here's a new product in the store that's maybe for those of you who are gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and sugar-free, right? We call it ice, right? I just show a picture of a glass of ice, right? So what can you do to make your that would be a value post, right? I'm not selling you anything. I'm not really giving you anything. I'm just kind of making a joke. Another value post would be, hey, here's my daughter. She graduated from college, right? She's been working the store since she was 12 years old. So I would post a picture of her in her cap and gown, right? I'm sorry, and a video of her in her cap and gown when she graduated, right? That we had tremendous feedback on that. The customers had been coming in, they had been seeing her since she was 12 years old, working in that store. And here she is 20, 22, something like that, graduating college. Right? They knew her. So that's a value post. If you've got a new employee and you want to introduce them to your people, your followers, introduce your new employees. There's a lot of different things you can do and find things to talk about. And so we can talk about product information. You can talk about sales in there. You can talk about promotions. And you can talk about, like we talked about before, news going on around television, going around town, news going on around town that might not be on television. That's what I tried to say. So, and have a call to action, right? And the call to action does not always have to be a sales piece. Doesn't always have to be buy my stuff. A call to action could be, hey, Carol's going to be working tomorrow and she just lost her dog. Could you just tell her to have a nice day? Right? That's a value piece. It's a call to action. You just tell them what they want. People want to be told what to do next. Just tell them. They'll do it for the most part. All right. Any questions? I know we're probably getting close to running out of time here. Let's just stop and see if there's any questions. Anything you want to know? Any secrets you want to know?
Probably later, but not now.
Okay, good. Awesome. Amy, is there anything else I mean, I don't know how much time we have left, but I probably could talk about why people aren't using it a little more.
Yeah, we're good. It's as long as we wrap up in the next 10, 15 minutes tops. So
Okay.
we're good.
I probably won't go that long, but I think that one thing is people are afraid that not knowing how to do it. Mary Jane, are you using Facebook Live?
Hi, everybody. Some of you may know me. Snow Sitlali knows me, and Amy, of course, Jean. But I have used Facebook Live since the first day. On occasion, they tell me, I'm the mayor of Waukesha, which I'm not, but because my office is right downtown, I can go downstairs and there's bars, restaurants, shops, so on and so forth. So whenever there is an event, whether it be newsworthy or whether it's just community worthy, I go down and I do Facebook Live. Like when the park, they were doing, people were in the trees doing treetop climbing. So I was down there, did that. It was a community thing. For the 4th of July parade, I'm always streaming. Usually this time I was not here. I was out of town. And if there's a new shop, I'll interview people and show about that. So I have done live streaming since day one. I love it. I'm not asking for anything, but people know me. And what that's allowed me to do is to have all of the newspaper and the television and the radio and whoever, they're all connected with me because they know if something's happening in Waukesha, I know about it, or people will tell me about it and say, oh, there's a car in the river, go down and videotape it. And then I'm the only one that has the live stream video, and I'll send it to the news program and I'll send them on the nightly news. So it's pretty funny, but I'm kind of like the unofficial little reporter in downtown Waukesha. So yes, I've used it many times for community, but I also do it when I'm having an event for any one of my clients. And many of those are food and beverage, but I do have a couple different ones as well.
You probably are one of the most favorite people in Waukesha.
People know
seriously,
me.
because people know that you do that. How many followers do you have?
About 4,500, 4,700, something like that. Yeah. Not quite 5, but close.
Right. And it's because of that, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. I can't walk down the street without people saying hi, which I love, because Waukesha, we're a tight community.
Or I love your video, or hey, yes, that was a really great video you just did. Yeah, it's Mary Jane, good for you. Yay.
Thank you, Jane.
You're welcome. Love that. So I think that's really kind of sums everything up that I had that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. By the way, if you do want, I'm happy to send it to you. I do have a list of 50 things you can make Facebook Live videos about. If you'd like that, I'm happy to send that out to you.